Welcome back to beautiful Costa Rica. Yes, that is a real background. I have no green screen going on here. You can probably see from my face that I'm getting a little bit of sun. Time to get in the shade and do something that's not involving the sun. So stuff you got to know about your home before you go selling your house. You know, it's one of those things where it's like there's a cost of an education in life sometimes, and if you know what to do and when to do it, it's usually inexpensive. If you don't, it can cost you greatly. In the case of selling a home, not knowing about your roof could cost you $10,000 or tens of thousands of dollars, or it can cost you a deal that you might really want because your roof, you know, maybe you don't know as much as you need to know about that. Maybe it's an asphalt shingle, maybe it's a clay tile, maybe it's a flat roof. Maybe, you know, you've got solar, those sorts of things. So if you can get up safely, and by all means, don't do anything that is unsafe. But if you can get up there safely, and you know you can do that, then get up and just take a look around. You have the old 3-tab type shingles, and those are 25-year shingles. Then you have the architectural shingles, and they're the original ones were guaranteed for like 30 years. And you want to subtract about 5 years off of each of those, because I think the design life was for, you know, if it's a 25-year shingle, you usually get about 20 years out of those. And 30-year shingles, you get about 25. And that's because those are designed for ideal conditions. The attic is well vented, those sorts of things. And of course, there's areas where maybe ice might build up. That's going to age it more rapidly. But you want to get up there and take a look. Now, there's a number of different varieties of ways that shingles can go bad. There's what I call the alligator cracking, where the roof just basically, if you look at an individual shingle, it looks like an alligator's back, where there's cracks going everywhere, kind of like a web, and that can be an indication that your shingles are about done. Another would be if you have curling at the bottom edges. Also, be aware that more recent shingles, and I'm going to say more recent means about 2010 and newer, those are, you know, they used to call them 40 and 50-year shingles, and now they just call them lifetime. So those, you know, it gets a little bit more complex when you get newer shingles, but those will be a little thicker, and they of course look very different than a 3-tab shingle. Areas you're going to want to pay attention to, because your inspector is going to, is what's called the valleys, where maybe you've got a slope here and a slope there, and they come together, and how well does it flow? You know, what's the angle? Also be aware of a roofing term, which is the pitch of the roof. A shallow pitch, of course, a flat roof is going to be 0-12, which means that as you go over 12 inches, you go up 0 inches. A very shallow pitch is going to be a 1 or 2 on 12. Some of the older homes that you see that were built in the 60s are going to be maybe a 4 on 12, meaning, of course, over 12 inches up 4. And then some of the newer homes, I'm going to use the word prouder homes, with the cooler roofs, are going to be more of a 12 on 12, where if you go over 12 inches, you go up 12 inches to stay with the roof line. And that might be a term that you hear. So now you're prepared to understand what that means as well. The steeper the pitch, the better it's going to drain, the less likely you are to have ice dams, and generally it just does better. You're also going to want to make sure that your home has adequate ventilation, and those will generally be turtle vents, but it can also be soffit vents. Soffit vents go in the soffit, and those are the air input into the attic, and then the turtle vents will be on the top, or you can have ridge cap vents. There are a number of varieties of vents. You can have attic fans. Attic fans are beautiful. There's a lot of kinds of vents, and I'm not here to tell you that one is better than the other. I just need you to know that you need some sort of ventilation, especially if your home is older. It may not have it. If you don't have adequate ventilation for your attic and your roof, That means that the sun hits the roof gets hot, everything gets hot, the attic gets hot, the house gets hot, and now because everything is hot, your shingles are going to bake, and now you're turning that 30-year set of shingles into a 17-year set of shingles. Another thing I'd have you be aware of in roofing is that you do not want to stack multiple levels of shingles on a roof. If you've ever lifted a single pack of asphalt shingles, it's heavy. It's like 80, 90 pounds. And, you know, I still like to think I'm macho-ish. But man, you ask me to carry one of those things or even lift it, and I'm going to be groaning a little. So imagine what your house is doing is you're stacking multiple levels of these kinds of asphalt shingles on your roof. That's not okay. Now, while it's allowed, it used to be allowed to do 3. Now it's allowed to do 2. That's still going to make me grumble. And it's going to make a lot of home inspectors grumble. And it's going to be a negative mark against your home if you have more than one set of shingles on your roof. So you'll want to take a look at that, and you can see that from the side. Also, you can see, if you stack a new set of shingles on an older set that's already curled, you can see how the shingles will flow a little bit because the newer, flatter shingles are placed over the older, crappy shingles. So you'll want to pay attention to that as well. I'll be right back.